Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More. We're back at the depot in eightplex I've been fixing up, and I have been neglecting this property because we've been so busy with so many other things. But this has been a huge project, a huge undertaking, and it really is not something that should be neglected. So we're stopping by to see how the progress is going. We'll see if we're pleasantly surprised with the progress or if not much has been done. It's been 3 weeks or so since we've been here. I've had it 5 months or so, maybe a little bit longer. Always hope progress would go faster, but this property had a lot of work that needed to be done with it. It was rough, and we will show you how rough it was here in a few of the units, and then we'll show you every unit and the progress that has been made so far. So here's where it was when I first bought it, and there was still one tenant. Well, there were a few tenants living there, but we gave them a couple of free months rent if they would leave in a couple of months. They all took us up on it. In fact, quite a few of them left earlier than that. So we had no issues getting tenants out, but man, were we surprised at how they were living. Now, I saw one of the units, or did I see them all? I saw one of the units before I made an offer, and I think we got in a couple more before I bought it, but was not able to see all of them. And some people might think I'm crazy. Why would you buy a property where you can't see all the units? Well, I bought a liquor store where I didn't get the sales data, so obviously I do some crazy stuff. No, that's an inside joke for the liquor store. That project we have going, which is huge as well. So there was a ton of upside on this property. That's why we did that. I paid $595,000 from it. It was for sale on the MLS, so I also got a commission as the buyer's agent. And rents were like $500 a unit. It was a very interesting situation where I think a lot of the tenants worked for the previous owner. Water did work, so that was good. Leaks a little bit. But those are incredibly low rents. And you could kind of see why they're so incredibly low when you got in the units and saw what condition they were in. Now, this one we did do a little bit of demo on. It didn't look this bad. It had flooring. It had trim when they were living there. No, this is a vacant one. There was one that was vacant, and that was this one, but I think we did do some demo too. So it was rough. Now, if we come through there, remodel it, then, before I bought this, I was thinking if I can get rents to 900 to maybe 1,000, then I would have a property that's worth, as I do my quick math here, if I did it right. Oh, I did not do it right. Hold on a second. 900 times 8 times 12 is $86,400 a year. Divided by 0.085. $1 million property, maybe a little less. So there's plenty of room there, even at $900 a month in rent. And that's pretty conservative because I own another property in this town. We have 1-bedroom units, and those are renting for $1,100. I think one might even be, or no, that's a 2-bedroom, but a real small 2 bedrooms, $1,200. And there's just not a whole lot of housing in this area. So if we were able to get $1,100 per unit, which honestly now I think isn't crazy at all, and I do my multiplying right here. No, that is not right either. Hold on, let me try again. 1,100 times 8 times 12, that's better. That makes like a $1.2 million property. And people might say, well, that's crazy. You're overcharging for rent. How can you be such an evil landlord? Well, if you see the amount of work we had to do here, right? Nobody is going to do this amount of work. Nobody's going to fix up properties, take the time, money, effort to do it if there isn't a reward at the end of all of this. If you can't have a certain rent amount, if you can't build equity. Because honestly, with interest rates as high as they are, with property values as high as they are, if I were to turn around and refinance this property and try and take 70 or 75% out, I'd probably barely make any money, if I make any money at all, on the actual rent and cash flow. It would probably pay my expenses, maybe leave me a tiny bit left over if everything goes perfect, which never happens in rentals. So the bonus, the gain here is really from the equity. And, if the right offer came along, I would probably sell this property too after we fix it up and rent it. But it's tough to sell multifamily properties right now because of interest rates, because of the market. It's just a difficult situation. And we've done this with a few other properties, the Ocho, the complex. We fixed them up, re-rented them, and we're able to refinance the properties. And those make a little bit of money, but they're definitely not bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or anything close to it after you see all the expenses and property taxes and insurance, utilities, maintenance costs, all of that. And it's also worth noting, this property was for sale for quite a while before we offered on it. And we did get, I think it was for sale for $635, $645. They lowered the price a couple times. So it's not like it was a secret. It's not like we were the only ones who had an opportunity to buy it. Many other investors had an opportunity to buy it too and passed on it just because I think of what you're seeing here and what the condition was, how much work it needed. And don't ever open the fridge or the freezer. Those are just roaches all over. So we did do bug bombs, treat the place, and have not seen any roaches or anything during the remodel since we did that. So that's good. But yeah, it was pretty nasty. That's actually one of the nicer bathrooms in the whole place, that one right there. But we redid all those, redid kitchens, redid flooring, paint, windows, doors, had to work on the plumbing, had to do other work. There was a lot that was happening here. So I was really curious to see how far we had gotten and how much was done. While we weren't ignoring the property, but we definitely weren't spending as much time on it as we normally would another project of this size, of this caliber, if we didn't have so many other things going on with the liquor store, with other flips I've got, other rental properties, another commercial property in this town I just bought. And honestly, that one's probably being neglected more than this one because we've got so much stuff going on. So it can be tough juggling everything. And real estate is weird like that, where sometimes, you might not have that much going on and you're wondering what's happening, why you can't find deals. And then all of a sudden, everything happens at once and you got all the deals and you're trying to juggle them and figure out how to make everything work. All right, now we're back to today. We're checking out the first units to see the progress being made, and hopefully there's lots of progress. And just looking at this one, I was hoping more progress was made than this. The counters aren't on yet. The baseboards aren't done. There's some outlets missing. Now, I knew appliances wouldn't be here yet because we haven't ordered appliances, just because we're not ready to really rent them yet. So we're waiting to do, all of the stuff until we're really ready to go to manage our cash flow and make sure we're not just dumping tons of money into this that doesn't need to be dumped into it yet. Bathroom's not quite done. So I was hoping this is one of the ones that would be farther along, but so far that's not amazing. Well, we have more to look at. So let's see. Oh, those are the baseboards. So at least they're here. It's got hot water baseboard heat, not electric baseboard heat. So a lot of times people think we've got electric baseboard. That is hot water heat. It's got a big boiler. Very efficient. Works very well. Much more cost effective than electric baseboard heat. I was thinking if we need to do something with the yard too this time of year. We also were talking about what do we do with the outside, trying to figure that out because it's time to do that. We do have new doors, new lights on the outside, but the paint is awful and the curb appeal not great. Oh, that's better. All right, so this one, I think this one's been mostly done for quite a while, but we don't really want to rent it yet with all the construction going on and other stuff happening. So we've kind of been holding off on it, but it looks pretty good. So this is what all of them, hey, the bathroom's even all the way done. And this color scheme we've chosen for a lot of our rentals, and some people might think, oh, it's boring, it's just white. Well, it actually makes them way easier to maintain and to paint. So if we paint all the trim and walls the same color, it saves so much money on masking and time and labor. And then we can give it some color and some contrast by painting the doors gray or a different color. And that's worked really well at the complex. I think we did it at the Ocho too. And then we just use the same paint for every unit. So we know it's there. Nothing goes crazy. We have to touch up stuff, paint stuff. Makes it way, way easier. This is better too. Okay. This is one of the units that was just barn floor before. If you remember that, this is an old train depot that was moved on top of a concrete basement / lower level. And so this side was the freight area, just had like barn wood, hardwood floors, and not much progress is being done here before, but the shower's in, the tiles in, the floor's in. We don't have the kitchen yet for these units, but this is looking much, much better. So I was a little bit worried there after looking at that first unit, like nothing was happening. Turns out we did talk to our guys, of course, who were there. They're still waiting on a cabinet from Home Depot before they can put the counters on. So that's why that is not done yet. And then here's the unit across the hall, and it is really close to being done as well. Still needs a little bit of plumbing work, but tiles done, bathrooms done, flooring's done. So much better. Lights are in. So this one's almost done as well. So that's really good to see too. So we have basically 2 units so far almost done, a third really close to being done, a fourth that still needs a kitchen, but otherwise it's really close. We also need to work on the concrete. Have a guy coming out to do that soon. And these metal railings, I've talked to 3 different people about how to replace those. They're so expensive. One company wanted to replace them as like $15,000. Another thought they could repair them for $2,500, but it's like, are we doing enough repairs? Is that just going to cause more problems? And we have a third guy who's kind of in between all that. So we might use the third guy who's kind of in between it, who's not replacing everything, but fixing it, hopefully in a very safe and longer term fashion. But that needs to be done. Again, here's another unit. Tiles in, floors in, windows are in. This looks so much better than the last time we were here. And a couple of cabinets. I think what happened was those were the cabinets that were supposed to go in the other unit. They didn't have the countertops done, but they didn't quite fit because they had different size cabinets in the upper and lower units. So they're waiting for the other one. It looks so much better in here too. It was pretty dark and grungy in here because they had some kind of fire at some point in this building's life in there. But all the boilers and water heaters and stuff were replaced, so that's good. So looking way better. This unit as well was pretty rough last time we were here. Tiles in. This one still needs the baseboard heat registers put in. Some doors there. But for the most part, the major stuff is completed. So, no, this is making me feel much better. And there's that weird camera thing in the bathrooms that happens. And someone told me, what is it, the frame rate matches the light rate or something and causes that. It's beyond my cameraman skills, so I'll have to defer to the experts. And these units on this side of the building had almost nothing done, like just demo last time. And so, floors in. Now there's a whole lot of stuff in here. No kitchen yet because we haven't ordered those, but that's coming soon. But really, bathrooms made progress. There's the weird lights again. Way better. Oh, that's an issue. We'll definitely need to take care of that. There's some discoloration there. We always tell our guys, cut that out, get rid of it, replace the sheetrock. Just don't want that to spread or be covered up. We want that gone. But yeah, this is way better. So we've got one more unit to look at. And really with this, like I said, we're ordering kitchens. We can probably start renting these. At least the one side once those are in. And then we need to get washer and dryer still. We had our handyman build us a spot in our supply shop where we can test our old extra washers and dryers now. So we've got old stackables for dryers, lots of washers. And it's really annoying because they're in our shop. There's no way to test them. You have to carry them somewhere and test them there, and that's pretty frustrating if they don't work. But now we just figured out how to rig them up. We can test them there, so we'll have them test some machines. Hopefully we can bring in a stackable dryer and some washers, some coin-op ones, and get those ready in the laundry room too. So this is the final unit. Not quite as far along, but definitely way better than it was before because almost nothing was done here prior. So yes, this is very good. A lot of progress. We're getting closer. I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. the plan here is to get them fixed, rented, and then most likely we'll refinance it and get our money out, maybe a little extra, maybe not, and then have a property with a ton of equity, makes a little bit of money. We'll see how much drama it produces, because we do get some drama from our other multifamily properties, but not nearly as much as when you first buy them, and if you have inherited tenants, which we didn't really have on this one. So good to see progress. We'll be back. We need to figure out outside colors, outside ideas. If you have ideas, that would be interesting. Like I said, this used to be an old train depot. I don't know what color old train depots used to be. In a perfect world, you take off all the stucco, but boy, that's just a massive risk of what's underneath it and the condition, and you might just be opening up a huge can of worms if you do that. So we're not going to do that. There's a few places it needs repaired. We'll keep the stucco, probably paint it, and then hopefully make it look a little bit prettier than it is now. All right, thanks for watching. Let us know what you think. If you have any ideas, we'll be back soon with updates on this, our other properties, the liquor store, laundromats, all that coming up soon.